Greetings, stowaways. This episode comes with a content warning for assault upon a sleeping female officer. The assault is not sexual in nature, however, the character is restrained while being attacked. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Flintlocks and Fireballs, where a handful of mad actors will attempt to survive the treacherous caverns of Dungeons and Dragons. I am your host and Dungeon Master Jason Phelps, and I am joined as ever by Robbie, large and in charge, Bellekom, Sam, small and in thrall, Burns, and Ellie, medium and in tedium, Sparrow.
I'm sad. Calling a person with ADHD boring is pretty much the worst insult you can give them.
You said you were bored.
Oh, I said I was bored.
In tedium.
I said you were in tedium
Right.
rather than tedious.
Oh, this is true. This is true. I assumed I was bathing in it because I was one with it, I guess.
Bathing
No.
tedium.
Bathing in
One with
tedium. Just a really boring bath.
Yeah.
The water's grey.
No.
It's
Kind of
unclear.
lukewarm.
Yeah, it's kind of unclear whether it's grey because it's just like, you know, the bathing of like tedious bathing, or it's grey because you were just really, really in need of a bath.
Yeah. There's some music playing in the background. It's like not quite soothing, but also not exciting.
Yeah, it's like lift music.
There's that music playing in the background.
One moment.
Are you finding the boring bath music? Just this in a lukewarm bath
Yeah.
for too long.
God, yeah.
Oh, it's ADHD hell, isn't it?
Yep.
Especially at weird little guy hours.
Speaking of weird little guys in time,
Yay.
it's time for us to send our minds into the grey bath of tedium that is the present and demand future us. What news? What messages? God damn it! I've done this like 194 times. Future us. What messages from the present? Greetings, stowaways. This episode comes with a content warning for assault upon a sleeping female officer. The assault is not sexual in nature, however, the character is restrained while being attacked. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
In fairness to you, there is a thing where when you've done something enough times, that how well you know it starts to go the other way. Like,
Yeah, like
as
if you
an
never-
ex-tour guide,
Yeah.
there'd be a point where I'd be like, oh my god, I can do fucking anything while saying this, and then suddenly I'd go over a hill into like, I think it was probably like over 100 tours at that point. You go over the hill, and it just would like completely leave you. You just feel like all the words were just like a bowl of jelly that you were trying to pick up with your bare hands, like, because it just somehow it goes past that, and then you get past that again, and it feels good again. But like, that happens when you say something a lot of times, I feel.
Like, I have definitely invalidated cards before by just putting in my PIN number the wrong amount of times.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because you've just done it too many times, and now you're
Too many times, muscle memory, not even thinking about it, and then I can't actually remember what the numbers are anymore.
Yep.
And speaking of memory, this is going to be an unusual episode for reasons that are going to become apparent.
I don't know.
Oh, suspense.
Indeed.
Acting.
Yep.
This episode actually covers an extensive period of time. So elements of this are going to be a lot more narrative than usual. There's going to be sections where we move forwards. I'm going to present the players with certain choices, but there's going to be potentially almost no rolling. But it's a good
That's
opportunity.
not that unusual for us.
Well, yes, but there's usually at least some rolling.
We love the chat, don't we?
But we're going to come back. But we're going to use this as an opportunity to look at some things that have been happening in the background in today's episode of Flintlocks and Fireballs. Our land stands on the sabre's edge.
Our cities are a powder keg.
Brother Chains, brother, no one's free. A life on land is short, you'll see.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.
Previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs. Actually, that's slightly too chill. That's the wrong kind of chill. Previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs, what's Gunter been up to? Oh, I say!
Oh, I want to know what Gunter's been up to.
Just continue the
We're just
theme
going
of
to
like
sit here and
bizarre
listen
side
to you talk about
characters.
Gunther for the next 3 hours. That's
Happily.
Gunter has been releasing has been taking advantage of the recently restored series of semi-functioning governments in Seoul to release a fine new line of high-end bedroom wear.
Never has anyone said the words
Beautiful.
functioning government with such high source as you just did. 10 points.
Yes.
Like, no one. That's never been done before. I'm sorry.
Oh, hello, sir. It's Gunter.
Good business is booming, apparently.
Yeah.
Previously.
Where are you previously?
Previously on. No, previously.
It's going great.
It's going great. Previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs, the party got heavily involved in the Sulian Revolution. Celestia was kidnapped by her family, taken down to the Underdark.
Boo.
A conflict where she proceeded to meet the siblings,
Yay!
Sapnet and Sandra Cormwraith. I say meet, they were technically escorts as part of the kidnapping party, with, I believe, Sandra having been sent by intercessor Savrina of the Church of Utu.
Definitely boo.
Indeed. Chasing swiftly after them was the remainder of the party, of course, Scamp and Corzin, accompanied by Commandant Oksana.
It's pronounced condiment.
It is. Have you forgotten
I've actually briefly forgotten.
Oksana Orlov?
Orlov, thank you.
Yeah.
Oksana Orlov, who was sent down as more or less by party ally and soon-to-be general Matcha Mistson. After a convoluted series of adventures involving at least one gay naked knife fight,
At least one.
Not sorry.
Anything could have happened behind the scenes.
indeed.
I mean, literally anything could have.
It's a
By the
weekly
way-
occurrence around here.
If you've like tuned in recently, and that was episode 69,
Nice.
Yep.
No.
Nice.
which we recorded live well, I mean, we always record this stuff, but we recorded, live in a nice little cottage somewhere.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
It was lovely, all in person.
Yeah.
And you can go back to and listen to that whole arc. It's great. However, at the end of that arc, the party killed something calling itself a god underneath the city of Utu. Mount Doomed, an ancient bronze artifact that had been placed there by Petroleone. And then on their way out, also took the opportunity to murder Savrina.
Heck yeah.
Definitely did do that.
And also murder Savrina, destroy the avatar of Utu that she had summoned, and frankly, because no one has explained to Oksana the how avatars of deities work, Oksana has no reason not to believe that she didn't kill a god.
Yeah. Unless anyone dissolves her of this delusion.
Yeah.
Like, that's what she thinks. She thinks she kills a
Absolutely
god.
not.
In an epic fight...
Give her a win. She needs one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in an epic fight that, amongst other things, involved Scamp animating the statue of Utu to fight the avatar of Utu in like a weird...
Because it was funny.
In a
Yeah.
little
It was
kaiju
narratively funny.
It was really funny.
It was. On the way out, before promptly escaping, as an earthquake left a huge crack running through the city itself, amongst various other chaos and fire going on. The party successfully teleported back to Seoul, though not before a parting shot on the part, I think, of Adrian.
Yep, it was definitely Adrian.
Slew Sander. However,
It's fine, I got better.
Celestia was able to make a perilous journey, essentially a perilous journey through Query the Afterlife, to retrieve Sander from... I think was it a cliff? I think it was the edge of a cliff
Yeah.
where they were able to have where they had some final words, so to speak, with Mila, I believe it was. Mila.
Yeah.
Their deceased companion and lover. Sander returned to the world of the living. And the, amongst other things along the way, the Oksana came out outwardly as a tiefling, inspired by Scamp and I believe by Wisdom as well,
Yeah.
Grimani's, to be an outward role model, which has unfortunately had some knock-on effects from a publicity standpoint. We'll get to those. In the meantime, however, Sabnet decided that he would lend his services to the Sulian military as an informant and arachnery expert to stage a prospective invasion of Utu. And then the main party pretty much fucked off to Sunder. So, 6 months ago.
Oh.
I'm going to do this in a slightly different order.
What's the Cirrus Citadel? Never heard of that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Commandant Oksana Orlov. You are due in a moment. You are due to have a briefing with the with Matchamists, now overall general and supreme commander of the National Assemblies. And it is the National Assemblies under the new constitutional monarchy. The armies. Amongst other things, the army is currently fighting against the Royalist Alliance, a coalition of countries, not least of which include Orsyria and Thrine,
Yay!
which are attempting to... Ostensibly, their casus belli was restoring King Leon to the throne. Now, King Leon technically never lost the throne. He just accepted.
Misplaced it.
Yes, a number of new checks and balances against absolute rule. However, why waste a perfectly good casus belli when the war's already started? The the Alliance is in the process of trying to claim as much Sulian land as they can get away with, in the process of restoring their dear cousin, and Sul's armies are responding in kind. Nevertheless, Utu's weakness represents an opportunity, one that Sabnet and Sander have have managed to sell, by and large, to the National Assembly. The Assembly have been voting on it, and you believe have come to, and Oksana, you believe they've come to a conclusion. There is unfortunately a newspaper nearby. Even with the government censorship in place, it would appear that there is a limit to how much control they have, or at least how much control Matcha has over what is getting printed.
Yeah.
It has been less than a week since you were publicly commended and given your medal for services to the nation.
Which is also when I came out, right?
Yes.
Because we wanted me to be a war hero. Yes.
You came out while sort of in conjunction with receiving the medal. In the week since, you have not yet really been evoked by name. However, while the front pages are covering, the front page at the moment has two obvious stories covering the recent successes in the fight in the battles of the Northern Front, and also some a recent dedication of the Palace of Justice on behalf of Cardinal Victory by Cardinal Victory Delacroix, leading that extra bit of religious endorsement of the new government. But you do see on the back pages, one of what you've noticed are a number of what they call tiefling skeptical
Oh god.
stories.
Oh god.
Wow.
Really? Oh, what are they skeptical about?
Tieflings don't exist.
Whether
They're actually
actually
birds.
yes, whether tieflings should really. There's a grading scale between whether tieflings are worthy of citizenship and whether tieflings are worthy of oxygen.
Whoa.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that showed up quite frequently in the last week.
It's
This is considerably before I get shanked in the night, isn't it?
That's
a while later. I'm getting the event straight in my head. I didn't realise how early it was. I'm there.
Not yet happened.
We have talked about it. It happens like
Yes.
the exposition of that happens on the podcast. So it's not like a
Yeah.
like that is established already
yeah.
as having happened by the time we're at.
By the time you actually get there.
But not yet.
But not yet.
Yep.
So, Oksana, at this point, at the very start of this period,
If I'm alone with the paper, I'd like to just gently rip up the back page into lots of very small pieces as like a fidget.
It provides like a thin sliver of satisfaction. Could I ask you to please describe yourself as you currently look?
Okay. So Oksana has like a very short, spiky crop of hair that is only in between these two rows of horns, which at this point are still filed down, right? Because it's only been a week.
Yeah, so there's now like a very short amount of growth.
Yeah, they're obviously horns, they're obviously visible, but yeah, she doesn't have the long plaits anymore. She has sliced it off so she can't go back. And I mean, I guess we're doing a character description because we haven't had them for a while, aren't we? Cool. So what does Oksana currently look like? So yeah, she has sort of slightly olivey skin, like a little tan. She has really bright green eyes, like the green of, like, you know, sun through treetops. That kind of green. She has... trying to work out which way round these are. On her left arm, she has a sort of bracer that has lots of different metal rods, all in a certain type of arrangement that look like they could be taken out and swapped. And there is also a shoulder pauldron that has a similar sort of number of metal rods. Both of these are brown leather. I guess she's in army gear right now because she's at work.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's in a Sulian army uniform. Poking out of the uniform, you'd be able to see some of the very large amount of tattoos she has. There would be the ones that you'll probably notice because it's just neck and hands that you'd be able to see right now. You'd be able to see one tentacle snaking up her neck. You'd be able to see something that looks like a stitched cut. You'd also be able to see a new healing tattoo of around about her collarbone of a spider, half white, half black, in manner of Sabrina's mask, and also too. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's new. I think that's it. Yeah.
Enough. There is a.
Yeah, the hair's sort of mid-brown. Mentioned colour. Yeah.
The as you are kind of tearing up the pieces of paper, a voice calls out from within the office. Come in.
I get up. Oh yeah, she's looking pretty eye baggy as well. That feels pretty key.
The door. You open the doors and arrive in Matchamistson's office. The office is neat, functional. There are some gorgeous. There are some gorgeous accents. This is. You are essentially within the Palace of Justice here. So there is.
It's fancy.
Yeah. So, but Match's desk is clean. There is paperwork. There are maps and so on. And standing up sitting up from the high chair and making his way down the little gilded halfling steps that lead up to it is the familiar grinning form of former colonel, now general, Matchamistsson. About 3'5", halfling, touzled black hair, a couple of streaks of grey, with grey eyes and a round, slightly pudgy face with a straight nose. He's always smiling, but... Commandant.
Hey! Sorry, I do a perfunctory we're at work, sorry. Hi.
He nods to you, close the door. It's alright. It is alright. Rough days?
Yeah. Not a lot of sleep recently. I'll get past it, it'll be fine.
So, would you care for the good news or the bad news first?
The bad news always. Get it over with.
He frowns a little. The National Assembly have, let us say, strongly advised me not to grant you a promotion.
Right.
Your next assignment would ordinarily merit it, and under the circumstances, I am able to assure you the standard pay and privileges accorded to a brigadier general.
But not actually make me one?
He shrugs one shoulder and then nods. There is a lot of sentiment within the National Assembly that stands against what you and I have chosen to stand for. At this time, it is President Savat's recommendation that this will cost us votes at a time when we are needing them to keep the coalition that is controlling the government together.
Right.
It is for now. This may fade in time.
How long is time?
That I cannot say.
Right.
However,
Could
I'm
really use
using-
that promotion now. My unit are, being difficult. The fact that I'm not as high a rank as I should be is not going to be useful in the near future. They will use it. They know on that sort of mission they should have a brigadier general leading them.
I am aware of this. And if I may be blunt here,
If you could stop with the management speak, I'd actually really appreciate it. I hate it.
the church bloc will vote are going to block all of our our next series of motions if I promote you.
Which will fuck everything?
The Cardinal has been very clear to me about this,
Right.
and to the President, and we cannot get the other the modernizations through that we need without the church's bloc voting in support. And they are doctrinally opposed on this matter.
Fucking doctrine. Amazing how mad people can be about somebody being alive, isn't it?
He smirks slightly and steps over towards a decanter on a low table. Brandy?
Yes, a big one.
He pours you a big one and him a big one. Hands it to you.
Thanks. Sorry for not putting a face on and taking it well and saying, "Oh yes, Soul."
We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah. Need to pull it back together for when I leave this room, though. So,
Of course. The good news.
what's the good news? Come on, pick me up. There's got to be something, right?
We're going ahead with the invasion.
Okay.
The Assembly has given me carte blanche on this. So, we will be going down there. I can give you command of 2 artillery divisions, as well as infantry.
Okay.
1 division of horse. However, my conversations with the specialists,
They'll be useless.
Lord Comrade, indicates that indeed
He's right, having been there. Don't send horses, it's not going to work. Too loud. Also, the terrain, everything about it wouldn't work.
nevertheless, you may find them useful for pulling the artillery, if nothing else. But we shall say keep them in reserve. Nevertheless, however, you should have more than enough resources to successfully punch your way through. I believe there are 3 bastions, according to the information that we have, indirectly in between our access point and the city itself.
Not the way I went, but you can trust those 2 drow. They're on side.
Now, you will Under the circumstances, I have a bit of news which is still somewhat good news for you, better news for others. Given how cooperative the comrades are being, I am inclined to recommend this Lord Sabnet to be our provincial civilian governor in the event of a successful takeover.
Oh no.
He will, of course, require constant advisement.
Is this supposed to be good news?
Does he get a funny hat?
I've changed my mind. I want to have a breakdown.
It would be.
I'll pull it together later.
It would be politic for a drow to have a drow face of the occupation, and it seems that he has a certain charm.
Does he?
At least, well, according to, he takes a piece of paper and looks at it.
Himself.
According to the number of entanglements he has now had with officers, yes, it would appear that he has a very specific charm.
Give me that page. I'm sorry, we've been above ground a week?
It would appear he works fast and extensively. If it helps, a number of those were multiple party engagements. Which would explain the numbers.
They'd have to be. I roll it up and give it back to him.
He unrolls it, slides it back into the stack of papers.
I now know a bit more about some of the people on that piece of paper as well. So, today and things we didn't want to know. Governor Sabnet, really? Have you talked to him?
I have talked. I have indeed spoken to him, and more importantly, I have spoken to his sibling, who everyone agreed has neither interest nor
charisma.
Competence.
I like them. They're great, but they're not a governor.
Nor competence.
And I'm not. So
as a face.
No.
Of the occupation.
They frighten everybody to death.
Indeed. The actual military responsibilities will rest entirely in your hands. I am deputized.
Are you sure?
If I could make you a brigadier general, I would. In lieu of that, you have my absolute confidence and authority.
I know I have yours.
And I am deputized to act on this matter. Therefore, I am deputizing you.
I have a bad question.
Go.
Is this because it's convenient to send me underground for a bit so I'm less visible? It's not a no. If it is, I want you to be honest with me.
It would actually be more convenient in some senses to be able to parade you around upstairs, as it were.
Well, this sounds awful.
From a strict publicity standpoint. However, you have the on-the-ground experience that no one in my command chain does, except yourself. I appreciate this specialist comrade and his sibling, but I do not trust them the way that I trust you.
Oh, it's not trust between you and me I worry about. You're putting me in charge at a time where people don't want to hear that.
Perhaps
but
not.
I guess it is what it is.
I will leave disciplinary measures to you. However, it is always important to remember that court-martials are a thing.
Yeah, it's just whether there'd be an uprising if I did that. I don't know, it's all a lot of knots, I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm sure I will manage coping again at some point. Everything will be normal, I will get there. maybe one day people will get over themselves. But yeah, I'm tired, so I'm sorry. I'm not on my best form. Don't know what I expected.
Oksana,
Yes. What?
what you are doing now, what we are doing in Seoul, is laying the foundations for the future. It is hard, messy work, and we may not get thanks for it. However, as that, I believe he checks a note, going over it with his little gold-nibbed, golden phantom pen. Palace dogs. According to I have one note saying here from that halfling captain who visited, you don't plant acorns so that you see them. You plant them so your grandchildren will.
I know. You're right. You're just not the person who has to push yourself out of the ground.
Enjoy the rest of the brandy.
Thanks.
Any further comments, Commodore?
I hate that you're not promoting me, but I get why. Thanks for being honest.
When we are more politically stable, injustices can be addressed. But I do not yet have a secure control of the voting blocks in the National Assembly. When I do, we shall settle scores.
Is that a promise?
He inclines his head.
Not a politician's promise?
Well, it's always possible that I will lose and not
Oh,
manage to
then
get
we're
control.
fucked anyway. Then I'm probably sacked, let's be real. It's a whole other set of problems if that happens.
Oh, that might be the least of your troubles. If it goes that badly, you might not want to come back over ground, because I might not be around waiting for you.
Let's not think about that too hard, eh?
He raises his brandy glass.
Chink.
To the future where things go well, and when I control the National Assembly, I'm going to need someone else to be a general.
Thank you.
He nods. Dismissed.
Okay.
Meanwhile, this was a slightly longer scene than I planned, but I think it was an important one.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, it's
I
fine.
didn't mean to drag it out.
No. It's a good one to have. Meanwhile, another meeting is happening. So, Sabnet.
Hello.
Ah, the boy.
The siblings, the Cormwraith twins. You.
We're not twins.
Sorry, not twins.
Sander is older.
It's my apologies. The Cormwraith siblings. The pair of you are presently being put up in an excellent and luxuriant to the point of louche townhouse within Alasot.
Oh, Sabnet is in his element.
Which includes, amongst other things, some obviously a small bevy of servants, and one of them, a grey uniformed valet, knocks on the door and brings you a tray of grapes, fine little patisserie delicacies, and announces, "My lord, there is a visitor wishes to call. They have introduced themselves as one Miss Gila Redfolder, a representative of the Redfolder dwarves, here to speak with yourself and your sibling.
Oh, very well. Yes, show them in and hand them another plate of these juice balls.
Of course, my lord. He bows and steps out.
Bestest boy.
Sander, you are disturbed in your prayers, meditations. What would you be doing?
Probably would call it meditation, but would just be avoiding people.
Are you just sitting and having some quiet time? You reading a book and like
Just staring out the window.
Staring at the light dappling on the across the streets when you are
fair.
interrupted with a knock at the door and an invitation by the same servant to attend with your brother in the parlour. Can I ask the pair of you to redescribe the siblings as they look right now?
All right, yeah. I think Sabnet would still have broadly what he would have been wearing underground, which is a sort of dark blue double-breasted jacket with some either red or purple piping on it, grey breeches and buckled shoes. He would possibly, in the 7 days he's been above ground, have
10
out
days.
of necessity.
It's been a week, and it's
10 days. Sorry, yes, 10 days. He will have, out of necessity, because he can't find any of the fancy eye shields that Celestia has yet, will have bought himself a rather large, wide-brimmed hat, which he would be wearing whenever he's outside. Imagine it'd probably be dark grey, going with his basic skin tone with like a feather in it, and he's actually he's notably quite short and slight of stature. He's about 5'3", has close braided platinum silver hair on his head that hangs down to about shoulder length. And a rapier on one side and a dagger on the other. Just, again, as loose as his current surroundings.
Okay, and Sander, what do we see as you glide, sweep, walk into the room? How do you move?
Levitate.
Crawl.
All except that one. I mean, they're not very tall. I always forget how short I made them, but they're not
Teeny.
tall. Long, very long white hair, like completely white, not like grey, like properly white, and has always been white. Very upright, very composed. Little bit of a constant frown. And I think previously they were mostly in like long flowy priesty clothes that were shades of like grey and black and purple. And I think now it's mostly dark blues, very pale blues, and a little bit of like yellowy and orange, sort of like the... I'm sort of imagining a sunrise, but before the sun's properly... Like that first moment the sun breaks the horizon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that sort of colour scheme going on.
I'm just going to write that down,
is
'cause
lovely.
that is cool. So,
And surrounded by fireflies for anyone who can see them.
Hell yeah.
Thin sliver of gold and orange. I'm just going to put that down. Thank you. So the shortly after the pair of you arrive, shortly after the pair of you meet in the parlor, the valet opens the door, bows, and leads in a dwarf woman with oiled black hair, tied up, done in some elegant braids, with a similarly oiled black beard, done up with many golden beard ornaments, and a comparatively trendy dress that blends Sulian fashion with traditional dwarven patterns. She executes what Sabnet, you recognise as being a traditional dwarven bow. Actually, so when you dress so she'd go for the curtsy version. Traditional dwarven curtsy, which is dwarven, but considered acceptable as a greeting by drow in drow high society. My lord Sabnet Comraith, I understand, and I believe, and would I be correct in addressing cleric Sander Comraith?
That is correct.
Mistress Redfolder, a pleasure.
She smiles and stands up, taking one of the a small bunch of the prophet grapes, and essentially is sort of playing with them in her hands, but eating during points when she's not talking.
Yeah, Sabnet will return the bow in the correct gesture. I'm imagining something that's sort of like a slight 45-degree inclination of the back, showing off one's ankle.
Before we begin, I wished to I am here as an unofficial representative of the Red Folder clan and similarly interested parties. I mean to offer no offence, but would you mind if I deployed a little additional security for this room?
Are you concerned about being overheard?
Gila draws from a little bag at her side a little rod of silvery metals with some gold sort of edging to it. It's actually got a little tripod on the base, and she places it on the nearby table, twists a couple of things, and lets out a soft sort of bing. And we should be proofed against any scrying or similar effects for at least the next hour. Think of it as a portable sanctum.
How very convenient, thank you very much.
Not something that the clans like to let go onto the open market very often.
I can quite understand.
Now, I trust, first of all, that this meeting is in the utmost confidence.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. A little bird tells us that first of all, you are looking to receive a great rise in station in the near future, and that it may be that your ambitions, and Sul's ambitions in particular, extend to making you the new lord of the city of Otu.
Modesty forbids.
Indeed. But as the dwarven saying goes, let us get to brass rivets. We, and by we I mean all of the clans living in the city, would prefer that this occupation went smoothly for us. Frankly, we have our issues with the remnants of the current government, and their prospects aren't looking good. We are pragmatic about this matter. We cannot openly come to your assistance because we, of course, have branches of our families in many different parts of the Underdark, including the other cities of the Empire. However, we would like to offer you some more concrete assistance in your planned annexation in exchange for specific and quite reasonable concessions.
And what might these concessions be?
Oh, nothing unreasonable. We would like an assurance, a guarantee in fact, that our property will remain untouched. I understand that you will be, let us say, campaigning on a platform of abolition. Is that correct?
Correct.
Well, obviously, as part of this, we will release any individuals currently held under drow law as slaves with suitable disenfranchisement pay. How those employed as paid servants will have the opportunity to continue their contracts or not, depending. Nevertheless, our material property, we would like to ensure remains ours. We would like to ensure that our rights to operate in the city remain guaranteed, which I think you will find are on par with those of Sulian citizens of suitable social standing within this surface nation. We will require we would like Sulian passports and citizenship, and clearance to move goods to and from the service as merchants who are Sulian nationals would receive. Really, a lot of this comes under Sulian citizenship.
Well, that does all seem quite reasonable. Was there anything that you felt might be helped along by my presence or my siblings' presence in particular?
We understand that you're going to have a lot of say with how the actual invasion happens, as well as the running of the city thereafter. We are hopeful that rather than simply raiding the city and stripping of its wealth, we can encourage a productive permanent settlement.
Merely raiding it would be an unconscionable waste of resources.
I am glad to hear you say that. Though, as I understand it from our dear friends in the National Assembly here, there was serious argument given to simply stripping the city of all its resources and then retreating.
This is not the days of Soldinsdale. You can't just waltz in, steal everything, and then blame it on another family.
Well, quite so. However, we understand that as reasonable as our requests are, you get nothing for nothing. We would like to... we can offer you plans of the bastions leading into the city itself, a strategic breakdown of the layout of the city's defences as they currently stand. We can provide active assistance sabotaging one of the bastions leading into the city itself, as we currently maintain sympathetic allies with it and members of the clan supporting that particular bastion.
I think that would be a very easy sell for my Sulian handlers. Could you, and I would presume that we have a map we could refer to. with this.
Indeed, you have your own
Yeah.
hand-drawn maps.
Yes.
She indicates the second of the 3 bastions you will need to travel through to
Excellent.
reach the
Thank you.
city.
This will all be useful information to pass on, you understand.
Of course. And, well, frankly, we trade upon our reputations, and a dwarf's word is their honour. Therefore, once we have reached an agreement, in writing with assurances, we will provide as much information as can be provided now, and active assistance further on.
Excellent. Well, sibling, that certainly sounds like a reasonable offer. What do you think?
I think this wasn't really something you needed to disturb me for.
Well, nevertheless, I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't at least keep you informed.
As you wish.
It would appear... Do we have an agreement in principle then?
I had some very important brooding I was doing. I died a week ago, mate.
I mean, fair, to be perfectly
That's
honest.
valid.
Yeah.
I'd have a lot of important brooding to do if that was me.
Yeah.
I've lost my only contact with my dead love.
Oh,
I'm
God.
brooding. I'm not happy.
Oh.
Fair.
Oh. All right.
Madam Redfolder, I think we can certainly put into writing something that would be agreeable to both parties here. Were you intending to draft that with me here and now, or would you prefer that I, as the representative of the incoming government, so to speak, make the first written proposal to you?
We can hammer out the... I believe we've hammered out the basic terms already. If we have an agreement in principle, then I can always... then after you've spoken to your side, I could return perhaps later this evening and we could draft up the documentation over dinner.
That sounds excellent.
I
And,
might just leave at this point. I don't want to be part of this conversation. Absolutely not.
as they do, I do make the comment. Ah, yes, it must be time for evensong. A toast, and he pours out some what he believes to be fine Sulian wine. He has no idea if it actually is.
Even the idea of this miserable cleric going and singing a prayer song is genius, to be honest.
Oh no.
You make you enjoy a toast, and
To
I
new
think this is probably
possibilities.
this is a pattern. People come to visit. Sander turns up initially. Sabnet starts flirting. Sander's like, nah, I'm checking out of this.
After dropping a devastating one-liner about how this is a waste of time. Amazing. I've missed them so much. Oh my god.
Gila clinks a glass of you to a profitable and close working relationship.
Here. Glug.
Get it?
The temptation just to go and set your bed on fire is very strong.
Well, there is this thing. After she leaves, Sabnet will go and find Sander again very briefly, but let's finish this one out.
Oh no! At this point, after the toast,
I think everybody
and the
involved is
handshake,
finished, to be honest.
Sure.
And sort of a handshake in principle, so to speak. No, literally, it's not that late in the evening yet. Gila departs for now, but will assuredly return later that evening.
Yeah.
Thus giving you an opportunity to speak with your sibling before a certain commandant is due to pay you a visit.
All right.
Yeah,
Very briefly.
Do
then.
I turn up in this? Is that
Yes,
what Okay,
yeah,
cool. Feel free to decide when I turn up. I'll join
Hey,
in.
you decide when you turn up.
Oh, can I? Do I?
You could-
Oh,
you just give me
what
a thumbs
terrible
up.
power. Excellent.
Yeah.
I'll wait till the moment feels right.
All right. Sibling, I understand that a lot of this is tediously dull for you, but would it kill you to, at least in principle, show a united front on this?
That may be considered a poor taste in words.
Duly noted.
Oh.
Sabna has never been known for his tact.
Outside of very specific circumstances.
Yeah. I shall in future endeavour not to disturb you for anything of the other than the things of most utmost importance. Look, I understand that this is only the beginning. We have a vast and uncertain future ahead of us. But if we can't rely on each other, whom can we?
At this point, there is a little knock on the door, and the valet opens it. Commandant Oksana Orlov.
Ah, very good. We can continue this later. Show them in.
He retrieves the commandant.
Sorry, you gave me like a movie cut of who can we rely on though.
Yes, absolutely. Sabnit will attempt to locate the most nonchalant chair to be discovered working in.
Oh god.
Oh, you find Sabnet nonchalantly like looking over some notes. Do you have like cosmetic spectacles to put on? Or?
Well, like a pince-nez.
Yeah, actually,
Hell yeah.
probably would have some pince-nez. Like, legs up on the table, just sort of,
God, the boy.
like, poring over something, looking like he's writing something. He's actually just doodling.
Yeah, Oksana's inside is real high.
Yeah, you've had like 20 seconds to get into this
I like
pose.
saw him do the last bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Commandant. A pleasure.
Governor Horhace. Hello.
Well,
Xander.
I like the sound of that. And what can I do for you?
Congrats. No, I'm not here for congratulations. I wanted to touch base and start planning.
Absolutely.
And inform you that we're all, well, formally inform you might have heard already, we're working together. All three of us.
Yes, I had heard words on the, and he doesn't actually know the word grapevine, because, as we've already established, he doesn't know the word grape!
True. The I suppose it would be the equivalent.
The webway?
Yeah, it would
Heard
be
on the webway.
Heard
Yeah.
on the webway.
Yeah. I did hear something on the webways about that. Has it been officially ratified, then?
Well, Matra just told me, and he's sort of in charge, so I assume.
Does
Capital!
this mean we are beginning, or must we wait longer?
Did he say?
Pretty much you are pretty much going to be marching out within the next 2 days.
Next 2 days, so not very long.
Good.
I shall have to, expedite my training sessions on the soon-to-be Arachnery, then.
Yeah, I would say so. If I could send over most of my unit, that would be helpful.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
Don't
assuming
worry,
that
they'll be
they're
taking...
not, like, cavalry, but like it would be helpful for them to have the skills.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for. Yeah.
Yes. Don't worry, they'll be taken very, very good care of.
Excellent.
At which point there is another knock, and the valet returns. My apologies, Lord Comrade. It would appear that we have another guest. You are very popular. Once
Very.
more.
This guy never sits down, does he?
No. He has never been seen in the vicinity of a chair.
There is the visitor has mercifully left a card. However, rather than intruding upon your privacy once again, he presents you on a little silver platter a essentially almost like a business card for one. Just get the name. Technically, it is for the surgery of Dr. Krennic of Leopold Street. You, with a note requesting at your soonest convenience, the attendance of Lord Comwraith, Cleric Comwraith, and Commandant Orlov, for a medical for an appointment concerning a matter concerning mutual interest regarding your health in the very immediate future. Now, I'm going to say that within the time in between, because I don't think you ever actually met this character.
I think I did.
No.
Oh, you...
Yeah.
Did Oksana? I think Oksana might have done.
We called them for a map.
Yes.
I don't think they had one, but they had some other stuff,
Okay.
I think.
No, that's why I know.
I met them.
Okay,
Yeah.
you have met the Scalpel.
Yeah.
The local
Very
fisher king.
briefly, but yes.
Yes. So you recognize... Oksana, you recognize who this is.
Ah. Well, this might actually be of interest to all of us, then.
Yeah, it's the Fisher King.
Are they in the habit of making...
What's her face down below? The silversmith, one of them.
Right, yes, well that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe we go after our little planning session?
Yes.
Well, I mean, no time like the present, right?
Have you met this individual before?
Briefly.
Are they in the habit of making invitations to see them sound almost like assassination threats?
Probably. I mean, crime boss.
I mean, game
met
knows
them.
game,
I've had
to
like
be
one
honest.
chat with them, man. I don't know.
I respect it. I respect it. Yes. Very well.
There's probably one little warning I should give you if we're going to work together.
Go on.
I mean, you've probably noticed the haircut. That's not the warning. But my point is, I don't know if you've been reading the papers lately.
I try to make a habit not to.
Oh, I wouldn't bother. But people aren't pleased that I'm out. I don't want to talk about it. But my authority is not amazing. I should have been promoted. I wasn't. That's going to make it worse. And yeah, my units are not feeling the most trusting. So there might be some trouble with me leading. Matt sure thinks it will be okay. I don't know. But I thought if we're going to be at the top together, I should tell you.
Okay, you see Sabnet's expression change to somewhat pensive for a moment. And he says, very slowly, "Thank you for letting me know. I wouldn't presume to have any idea what that must be like, but all I can say is I know what it's like to be in a position you're not appreciated in."
Will
I
you
look
be
at him.
requiring extra protections?
Huh?
There are precautions we can take if you think you are likely to be in physical danger.
Yes.
I'll let you know. Don't know how bad it will get. It's not been that long.
Well, you certainly put yourself on the line for us, and we will remember that.
Thank you. Let's get some work done.
Absolutely. So, where shall we begin?
We plan.
You plan.
Yes.
And there are.
It's probably really boring.
Oh, yes.
To be honest.
Hours.
Yeah.
And I
Hours,
think
yeah.
maybe Sander gets into a habit of casting Death Ward on you every time we see you. Because
Yeah,
it lasts
okay.
about 8 hours.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Noted.
If you go down, you pop back up to 1.
I mean, that
Excellent.
will certainly be appreciated.
Mm.
Do you tell her you're doing that? Or do you just do it?
Yeah, no.
Actually, I think you have to say
You're-
yes to it, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm not sure you
It's a willing
do that
creature, isn't
anymore,
it?
But I think probably, but so I guess it would. But Sander would ask because
Yeah.
they will see that you are observant enough to you'd notice.
Yeah.
They probably cast that sort of thing on Sam and don't say a thing because it's Sam.
Oh yeah, so you should probably never notice.
Also, he would be unbearable if he knew they were doing it.
Yeah, he would.
I was literally about to say, they never did that for me. And I love the fact that, yes, they absolutely very much did. He just didn't notice.
I've missed these idiots so much.
Yeah, no.
Dickheads, all of them.
Consent is not required or awareness.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oksana would notice.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Sander
because you
would
pretty much
ask
that,
because they are wise enough to know you'd notice.
Yeah.
Sabnet, however, you just are used to your sibling just like poking you in the forehead every morning at some point, or like in the side. You just assume it's standard like sibling abuse.
It's the way that they wake me up to make sure that I'm not dead.
Two incredibly
There would be
observant
paperwork
characters and
involved if you
Sabnet
were.
like la 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 la. I love it.
In whatever bunk I happen to be in.
In whichever
because we're
one
still
that
not
is.
letting that...
We have our own rooms at this point. There's no way you're doing all the shit you're doing in a shared room.
Oh
No,
God, no! You're not
absolutely
in
God,
bunk beds.
No.
They've like it's quite fortunate that there is that like it's both fortunate that there is a capacious a very nice guest room in this townhouse, and impressive given that the master bed seats 6. The
7 if you really squeeze.
true yes, true. Like that number gets higher if you're accounting for small-sized characters instead of medium.
Yep.
Now, you do have after planning, make your way to the office of the Scalpel, one Dr. Sarietta Krennic of Leopold.
Liverpool.
What?
Hello.
No, I just said the wrong word there. Leopold Street.
Okay.
Where you are seated to some not uncomfortable but fairly severe chairs in a fairly severe office, and met by an olive-skinned human woman with thick black hair and a tight braid. She is tall, slender, actually wears pince-nez, as opposed to wearing them cosmetically, and wears a black waistcoat with a doctor's black coat hung up on a stand nearby. She has a small professional perpetual smile, but is otherwise poker faced. Thank you for attending my invitation.
Thank you for the invite.
It is. I have been asked to intercede with you on behalf of a mutual acquaintance of ours, the silversmith.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
We know that you are planning to make an attempt to take the city of Utu. We have reason to believe that your odds of doing so are good. Under the circumstances, the silversmith would like to make an arrangement with you to ensure that that they may continue operating and that they provide you with useful services in return. I have been authorized to negotiate on their behalf as a favor to the silversmith.
What
well.
does she want?
First of all, she would like her business to remain as uninterrupted as possible, given the circumstances.
Her business being the bar?
And her other enterprises, which, of course, she will ensure that you are suitably cut into. She nods to Sapnet in particular, but with a sort of general gesture. However, in addition, given the possibility that the city that you may end up not sticking around, she would also she and her associates will require passports, Sulian passports and citizenship to be able to travel to the service if it should become necessary to leave the city. She has expressed a preference to remain and hopes that you will continue to remain in the city for years to come. Which brings me to my final point. As I understand you are pursuing... Gesundheit. As I understand you are pursuing...
Sander doesn't snooze. Sander's never snoozed in her life.
Never once sneezed.
She looks, I think under the circumstances, probably to Sander. It is my understanding you are pursuing an abolitionist approach.
Yes.
Then her usual method of procuring sustenance will no longer be practical. Therefore, she would like to arrange a regular, as part of the agreement, a regular supply of criminals who are condemned for execution. In lieu, the arrangement would be that in lieu of the standard methods of hanging or beheading, they will instead be conveyed to for the consumption of the silversmith and her family.
So, people from up here who are condemned? Not just from down there?
Whatever form or through whichever suitable mechanism the legal process that Sul has access to, or as it conducted in the city, should find appropriate as judging being worthy of execution.
Is it the kind
You're
of
asking for
number
blood
that was...
sacrifice.
Huh?
You're asking for blood sacrifice. I've seen that happen before. How is this different?
It is my understanding that this is a case of survival. Due to the condition, which is quite irreversible, of the silversmith and her close family, it is not possible for them to survive without consuming the blood of living, sapient individuals. They have prepared a schedule for how long they can stretch out a supply, they believe, in the event that they are provided with condemned criminals, in order to keep this number to a manageable quantity. Frankly, I am aware of the conviction and execution rate of Sul, and this would be a drop in the bucket.
That was going to be my next question, being uninformed on how much she might need to consume. People on death row? I kind of look to you two.
Well, my only concern would be if it's to be prisoners that were to be executed anyway, that at one time or another, if the supply does not meet demand.
I think we just said drop in the bucket. Right.
Well, that being the case...
What is she offering in return?
First of all, in the case of the immediate invasion, she will provide active support from within the walls to seize the city itself, and an offer to assist with taking the bastions on the way to the city. She believes that she should be able to send at least a small number of her family in advance to assist with the bastion. However, the majority she will retain in the city to help with the actual siege of the city itself, as well as to she reads a line, foment popular support for the new regime. Rioting. She will start riots into time with your arrival.
Oh, that could be helpful.
It would be very useful to have a person on the inside.
Who knows the community more than we do? We don't know what the landscape is like. You two haven't been in Utu for a while either.
This is true.
And I mean, I'm new.
I think certainly the fomenting of support, acts of sabotage, and even just intelligence is
Intelligence would really help.
Tremendous boon to us, yes.
That is, which brings me to the second part of the offer. She is offering to put her family and her resources at your personal disposal, Lord Conrath, as informants and enforcers, as you require them.
His lilac eyes light up at that.
She is an expert at gathering information and at removing obstacles. I understand that she had previously similar arrangements, but with the unfortunate demise of the previous intercessor, those arrangements are now null and void.
They would be. I'm inclined to take the help and say yes.
So am I. Sibling?
I am a cleric of the light. I cannot be involved in this decision.
Fair enough. Well, the general and the governor, I guess, will make the call.
If you wish to abstain, then there's a majority of 2 to 1.
I do want one more concession. Her and her family don't kill indiscriminately. As their needs are seen to, they shouldn't need to. I don't want to see any vampire mass murder shit happening.
She checks her own notes for a moment. The silversmith has anticipated this request and prepared and has noted as a statement that is something they discourage amongst their own kind harshly.
Okay.
Provided their physical needs are met, there should be no need for any such displays. Though as a personal request, she does make a point that should the governor wish anyone to be disappeared, if he is willing to donate the body, that would be much appreciated.
I would say whatever this agreement leads to, it would be advisable that I am never in the room with the silversmith. If we never need cross path, that is probably the safest thing for all involved.
This isn't a religious matter. I don't see why we should need you to work together.
All right. In fact, before that, very well. then it would appear we have an accord. And with that, you have completed your preparations for the invasion. You now have, including support from the dwarves and vampire secret police.
Yay!
Yay!
Which sounds like we'll never meet. Because if they end up in the same room as them, they will just cast daylight.
Yes.
Yeah, fair.
Oh no!
Vampire Secret Police sounds like a punk
don't take
band.
a light cleric who is... that is a meeting they should never have been allowed to or invited
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, we didn't know what it was about in our defence.
to. No,
Fair.
no, but the people who invited us should have known better.
The people who invited you knew better and wanted to make sure that you weren't that Governor Sabnet wasn't going to conveniently backstab them.
Okay, that's fair.
By, did I forget to mention my sibling with all the daylight? So, that being said, we're going to gloss over a lot of the next week. You gather together, the troops are gathered. The march is made upwards to the northwards to the same entry, towards the same entry point where Celestia was kidnapped and taken through. There are several days of marching and preparation. And fortunately, this time, the war front has pushed north enough that you don't have to fly over it invisibly. Especially because you're, bringing troops and artillery. There are tensions, to put it lightly. There is there is a stiffness in particular from your unit, Oksana. Your nominal whenever you give your orders, Lieutenant Lavoisier, your second human man, blonde ponytail, mustache, scar across the back of his knuckles, will always just salutes. Yes, ma'am, and does not comment. Carries them out.
Oh,
And that
we probably had a good relationship before, didn't we? Yeah.
you did. And up until now, you always felt like someone you could rely on.
Oh no.
There is a lot of tension, and you get newspapers as you're coming out. Newspapers you still encounter here and there.
She's reading her hate comments, isn't she?
And they are more.
Oh, she is though. She would.
But
Yeah.
no, it's 2 days. By the time 2 days after you've left the capital, the first of the story of the opinion pieces starts to mention you by name, simply drawing attention in little ways to Commandant Oksana, formerly identified as a Tiefling commander, formerly identified as human, and is positioned on the same page as a piece deriding the deceptiveness of Tieflings.
Just generally, yeah.
Yes.
Ugh.
And the masquerading type nature. There is a lot of this. It is nightfall, the night before you will arrive at the caves when they come for you, Oksana. 3 of your unit.
Is it the one from we did on air? Not that we did on it.
didn't
Is it
do
the
it
one
on
we
it,
talked
but
about?
yeah.
We talked about. There were 8 of them.
Sorry, 8 of your unit.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, don't worry.
It's been a long time.
It has. That's why I'm asking. Yeah, it's all good.
You are awoken. I might be slightly messing with some of what you said at the time, so correct me anything I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They grab you in your sleep. One of several of them, a couple of them hold your arms behind you so that you can't use your hands, and one shoves a rag into your mouth so you can't speak any magic.
I did a bunch of magic in the one that we talked about.
I'm coming
different
to
one.
this in a moment.
Okay, cool.
And this is where I'm. Did we describe? You described it. We didn't see it on it.
We described it. Yeah, there can absolutely be. There can be stuff that we want to add. I'm down.
I'm adding a thing. And Lieutenant Lavoisier is the one who stabs you repeatedly in the gut. Until you slump down, and they watch until they believe you've bled out.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
And as they turn, they don't see the flicker of light around your body and the flash of life back in your eyes as the Death Ward discharges. And then you rise back up and the magic comes.
Yeah, still pretty dang injured. There's an instinct moment. Oksana's not really even awake yet, where Hellish Rebuke happens. So there's a big flash of fire. It's like spat at Lieutenant Lavoisier.
Yeah.
Like spat at him. And as he's sort of... I set his ponytail on fire. There we go. As he's scrabbling around trying to put his ponytail out, one would imagine the others are sort of rounding upon Oksana because there's fucking 8 of them. And I believe that I said she then casts Everard's Black Tentacles. The room fills with tentacles. They tie them up. Everyone's unconscious very, very quickly. And then, as I recall, still really, really injured, I drag Lieutenant Lavoisier into the mess hall, bleeding heavily. I throw him down on the floor, because one assumes he's unconscious from tentacle beatings at this point. I cast Thaumaturgy, and I say, "Don't fuck with me!" And then I calmly walk to Match Misson's office and collapse like a sack of potatoes.
Indeed. And I'd forgotten the element, so I'm just going to say, just Misson.
I can also walk to somebody else's
Misson
office,
accompanies you.
yeah.
I'm saying accompanies you as far as the entrance to the Underdark, basically.
Oh, cool! Yeah. It doesn't have to be Misson. We can break on that.
Because he then journeys on to join the rest, the other front, fighting against Orsiria.
Oh, and the cleric who heals me is probably Sander.
Yeah,
Probably. Yeah. Interesting. That's fun. Cool.
I don't remember this, so I want to know. Do you? Because I feel like Misson would ask you this, because his default position is yes. Is there a court martial?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I believe they all got trialed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And shot. Is what we said.
Yes. They all get trialed.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm going to give you an option.
Mm-hmm.
They are due to be shot. They are due to be executed. They are condemned prisoners. If you want to have a word with Sabnet, you can.
No.
Okay.
Because I want it to be official.
Fair.
I want it to follow what the official process usually is, and I want it to be visibly done.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah.
any sense. Like, I think that's more of a message than talking
Good.
to Sabnet.
Matt,
These are military criminals, not general public
Yeah.
criminals.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Also, she never said which one she wanted, so...
Yeah. The court martial, they are gotten back to consciousness with very perfunctory healing, so that statements can be collected, and Matcha himself administrates the summary hearing, and very quickly pronounces guilty, all parties, execution by firing line. And then and as soon as the matter is done, pretty much returns to work. After a sort of after a visible like nod to you as a superior officer
I salute.
doing his job.
Yeah, there's not like friendship that's visible.
No. And the 8 of them are marched out, tied up on poles, and shot.
I don't go. Like,
No.
I do my job, you know.
You do your job,
Yeah.
but you hear the gunfire up to either of the corn wraiths if you witness the executions or not.
Nah, not interested.
I think I would. I'd be curious about how they do things on the surface.
Well, fair.
Sadly, watching from a corner with a pipe or a drink or a sandwich, whatever.
It might actually be around this point he discovers flapped jacks.
Oh God, with a
hell yeah.
flapped jack. Yeah.
I love the idea that he's treating sandwiches the same way you would a drink or a pipe.
It's really funny.
Instead of having like a tobacco pouch and things, he'd just have a little
jam sandwich.
kit.
A little Sammy.
Yeah.
He's not rolling his own, but he is making his own little sandwiches on the go.
That's so funny.
Making of bread.
Canonically, he has when he's like actually on active duty, he has a set of pouches on one side that are poisons and a set of pouches on the other side that are contraceptives.
Oh no.
I adore him. An icon.
And he's added a third one for sandwiches.
Yes, third one for snacks.
Oh, you don't want to mix those patches up.
No, you don't.
No, you really don't want to mix those.
Is the sandwich pouch on the poison side or the contraceptive side?
I think it'd have to be
real
like round the back.
Yeah, true.
Like if you imagine like
Sounds
one's on one
dangerous,
side,
just
one's on
gonna
the other,
sit
he's
in
like
his
round the back,
sandwiches.
just sort of reaches casually behind his back and then pulls out a little snack or something, and then like hand goes back. He'd be like sort of standing upright, so, with one hand behind his back, looking militarily, and then just the tiny little sandwich.
Holding a sandwich like a martini is what I've got pictures. Oh, so much comedy out of how one man holds a sandwich. I love this character. Anyway.
All right. We're going to breezing onwards through the next portion. You encounter the bastions. The first bastion definitely does not fall without a shot. However, the first bastion you meet, not far into the first bastion you meet, definitely sees and hears you coming. It's not far from the surface. So you would definitely be expected, and you're getting the artillery ready to fire in, and you do anyway, and you will anyway. But one notable thing is the portcullises haven't lowered the way that they should have done. And you can hear, and so it's still staffed, but it seems that they're having some very serious equipment malfunctions just in time for them to arrive.
Well, that's certainly convenient.
Very.
It is not undefended, however, and soon enough the crossbows are firing from the defensive points. But it does make it a lot easier to take, and especially with the portcullises open, you are able to deploy, still quite close to the surface, the awesome power of artillery, which has never been employed at this scale in the Underdark. There was an early attempt with gunpowder weapons about 400, about 450 years prior, when they were in their infancy. There were some hand cannons. There were early cannons. This is modern 1790s artillery. It blasts, especially with the portcullises open and the inner levels exposed. It blasts away through the defenders, and as the infantry come in to take it, you hear shouts of "All company, now!" As then vicious fighting is heard from the inside, and a cadre of well-armed and armoured dwarven mercenaries, previously holding the defences, turn and start hacking apart the inner defenders.
Don't you just love it when a plan comes together?
Shut up.
There's a very brief meeting with the dwarven mercenary commander beforehand, whose troops have been systematically executed. While it is, the Sulian army's tendency to take quarter, the dwarven mercenaries are emphatically not taking any quarter, and go out of their way to execute as many defenders as possible to prevent any witnesses surviving. The commander has a brief debriefing with you, in which he informs you that while his orders have been to help you take this particular bastion, they are now going to disband and stage a retreat to the nearest dwarven settlement, having taken losses and retreated rather than fight to the last under the inevitable onslaught.
Probably very sensible.
Nevertheless, this bastion falls very easily.
Goddess's teeth, those cannons have come along a lot in the last 100 years.
Yep. That's so done. Like the smugger he gets, the drier I get. Like, it's just
fair.
Just done.
You make good time through the next set of caverns. Surprisingly good time. You would have expected, even with the with the limited artillery use that you did up above, for there to be being harried in this next cavern by Arachnery or other troops. You certainly anticipate more resistance at the next bastion. Once again, as you reach the next bastion, again, moving as quietly as you can, given it's a column of troops, the portcullises are open. This time, there's no sign of defenders. The scouts move forwards, who have moved forwards stealthily on Spiderback, the most promising members of your growing Arachnery Corps.
Yep.
Savna.
Yep.
And return escorting what appears to be a male drow, charmingly handsome looking, with silver hair and garnet eyes, in fashionable grey and black silks. The soldiers look to you. Sir, this individual was the only occupant of the bastion, and he immediately surrendered on our approach and requested to parley with you.
Very well. I trust he has been suitably divested.
They nod. No, and the drow slides gracefully off the spider and executes a courtly bow.
I return it.
Lord Comraith, I presume.
You presume correctly.
Hold on, how do it is? I've put down here Irish RP, which is not really two things that mix, so I'm just going to go with Irish.
Okay.
Am I there?
For the yes.
Yeah, cool.
You are.
I thought I probably would be as like effectively general. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Irish, we're going to say.
I buy that he's ignoring me though.
Oh no, he addresses Lord Comraith first. So, my Lord Comraith, and then after the acknowledgement, and I am to understand Ma'am, Commandant?
Yep.
He bows low to Sander. Cleric. My matron. God damn it! I've just been doing so many Syrian accents.
It's only Francis coming out, isn't it?
Right. My matron, the silversmith, sends her regards. You may call me Arjan, and I have been instructed to serve as your intermediary going forwards.
Weird question. What? Sorry, go on.
Oh, I just said good to meet you. You
Oh,
carry on.
right.
Yeah.
Weird question. What does this individual's what do this individual's canines look like?
Oh, pronounced.
Right. Okay. Just so we know who we're dealing with here.
I took the liberty of preparing the bastion before your arrival.
I see.
Much appreciated.
Yes.
I
trust there will not be any further resistance.
Not within this bastion. However, we made use. However, we have only been able to secure this one. The one immediately before Utu, I am afraid, will be at its full strength.
Understood.
Good to know. If you've got any information about what full strength looks like, we'd appreciate it.
He unrolls a series of plans.
Amazing. Right. If you two want to complete your parlay, I did have urgent business with Cleric Sander.
Very well.
I
We can
give them
see
a
to the
look
details here.
that nobody else in this room is necessarily observant enough to catch. One hopes.
The pair of you either get some space or give Sabnet some space. It's hard to say.
We leave. Like, I'm just... I think... Actually, this is probably a good chance for our little, friendship to begin.
Yep.
I mean, I don't suppose you want to actually have a meeting, do you?
Is there anything we need to discuss?
I'm not sure. I need to have a think. I'm gonna take you to my quarters. I was actually just wondering if you were as tired as me and if you wanted to just sort of pretend we were having a meeting, but maybe just not have an hour where, no one can bother us.
Do you mean just sit here in silence for an hour?
Yeah, I've got tea.
Undisturbed?
Yeah. You look like the
think we
kind of
should have
person
more
that might
meetings.
appreciate that. What did you say?
It might be that we require daily meetings.
I think we could get a great deal of work done, and do a lot for Utu if we put our heads together, you know?
It may be necessarily as things intensify that the meetings become twice daily.
Quite possibly. a rare smile these days. I make some tea. We don't talk. It's amazing.
It's the best day ever.
Ah.
I think like the whole of that meeting, there's just been like little flickerings of like not quite the light cantrip when there's a vampire in the room, Sandra's not quite holding it together, and that just like the fireflies flickering in and out of visibility to the rest of the world. Because I think when Sandra casts light, or even like the light cantrip, it's a firefly becoming visible.
Oh, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, they can't quite not do it. So now everything just sort of settles, and the fireflies stop flaring.
Yes. The Commandant's meetings with the cleric become common knowledge that it's very important they're doing Utu work.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking perhaps we might need to have daily meetings.
Yes, I think that could
Fuck's
be
sake.
very advantageous to
Perhaps-
our respective positions.
Perhaps even twice daily. Well, we'll have to see how it goes.
Well, I think there's definitely scope for that.
Meanwhile, no, that's enough meanwhiles. You proceed. You proceed.
I was half tempted to roll for whether he made a pass, but I'm glad you made that decision.
You proceed. So, with daily meetings suitably arranged, you carry on. The third bastion, however, goes down much harder, and this time they are prepared for your coming. The last approach, you are struck by arachnery dropping where they can from the ceiling via the webways, or even like thin sort of gorilla string ways set up, going off the webways as defensive points. In other cases, charging out of the darkness and making attacks. And here, frankly, here is where the number of troops in your column and the technological advantage of firepower comes in. These early attacks, while devastating in the initial charge, begin to wither under sustained fire. But going in loud brings trouble. It's not long before the wildlife comes for you as well. And again, even as terrifying as the wildlife is, there is something to be said for the repeated application of line infantry. The Sabnet, you are shocked the first time you see a great centipede fall to repeated firing lines, repeated line fire. That's the sort of thing that normally a contingent of arachnery would have a hell of a time taking down, and probably normally that would just drive away.
Yeah. You'd have to somehow swarm it, but like with sustained fire like that. Oof, yeah.
There are some things work better than others. Razor moth swarms are tricky, but it turns out grape shot does surprisingly well for them as well. Nevertheless, it is it is a continuous fight getting to the bastion, and when you are there, it is a lengthy. It is well, compared to in some ways not that lengthy. It's only a few hours, but it is a few hours of just with relatively little contact from your standpoint. Because as soon as you get the bead on the location and manage to get essentially scouts come up ahead and literally paint with with like slingshot weapons the bastion itself with with alchemical flares to sight the artillery with, you just hit the bastion again and again and again until it blasts through all 9 walls.
Bloody good show.
Thanks.
Oh, he's genuine. He's absolutely there's no smugness now. It's literally just.
I think I only clock that seconds afterwards.
Unabashedly
and then I
impressed.
Go, actually, thanks. Thank you.
Arjon, who's idly tucking into one of your flapjacks, has sort of got his the flapjack half raised to his mouth and just agape. Under the circumstances, I think we've backed the right beetle.
Well, I am touched by your vote of confidence.
The beetle thanks you. Salute.
And then the city itself. It would take us far too long to go into every moment of the epic battle that follows. Suffice to say, there are highlights. By the time you return to when you last left the city, it was the center of it was on fire, including
it was
the temple. It's the temple itself. So just a little reminder, Utu itself is a glimmering, when you first reach it, is a glimmering jewel of mostly subdued lights amidst the darkness. Lit, again, they've had time to replenish it. Even though scarred in places by fire, the stepped temple of Utu, with its black and white patterning, still blooms with streaks of glowing red, glowing scarlet from the breath leaf, growing at every terrace like a macabre hanging garden. The city is scarred in places, though. Amongst other things, it's gained additional waterway where a huge crack rent the city in twain. The walls show signs of recent repairs. It looks like the 3 purple worms you saw attacking it last time have been were successfully driven away. But you come at it with force. The siege of Utu lasts a day. They drop on you from the ceilings where they can until artillery blasts away the columns connecting the city's the ground forces up to the webway connections above. By the end, only one of the 6 pillars is even halfway usable. The walls, you blast open the gateways into the walls. And a pitched battle takes place where you fight on two fronts, both against the city and against the droves of wildlife that come for you despite the noise. However, against sheer repeated artillery, there is only so much that can be done. The walls fall, and as fighting takes to the walls, you see in places defenders, just parts of the wall, of the defense on the wall just go silent. The Sabnet, you see Argent raises a small glass to you and gives you a nod where that happens.
I tip my hat.
In others, explosives or unexpected magical effects go off. Lightning strikes out of nowhere as a series of, in some cases, just bombs, in other cases, one-shot enchantments activate, with key entryways being blown open by your dwarven allies. The fighting spills into the city itself, where fighting is already underway. Arms supplied to slaves rising up and joining your forces, pre-warned that you are here as a liberation. I'm going to ask during this fighting, which will culminate at the temple itself. Where are you in the fighting? Pick a moment each to highlight if you want.
Fun.
When do you go first, Ellie?
I'm trying to think. What would I be doing? I mean, Oksana, I think, is very worky during a lot of this. I don't actually think it's a massively epic Oksana moment. I think she's just being a really damn good general in kind of a run-of-the-mill way. I think, I guess as a highlighted moment, it would almost be really small things. Like, I think she's probably been doing really epic things this whole time, like being in charge of, battalions, like throwing huge fire spells when needed, keeping the whole thing ticking along. She's been delegating and delegating and delegating. She's busy. Yeah. But I think, I don't know, a moment that I think would jump out is probably her having trouble getting her orders accepted during all this bullshit.
Yeah.
She does, but I think there's at least one moment where she has to really put someone in line, like mid-battle, like to be like, follow my fucking orders, or I will court-martial you. Like, I think she has to make some serious threats.
Yeah.
It still works, but I think Oksana's experience is, other than the location, a pretty standard day as a general, like on a raid.
Yeah.
Other than having serious trouble getting people to do what she wants them to do, it's a pretty normal day on the job. Like, it's not an epic character moment for Oksana to take her to. It's different for you two.
Your darker, your hardest moment is having to threaten court martials to get your job done. Your moment of glory is at the start when the artillery take the gates down.
Yeah. After that, it's a fucking slog.
Sabnet next.
Okay. Having started the sort of sustained artillery fire on one of the walls, a lot of the defenders will probably have taken cover behind it. What Sabnet will have done with his arachnery is crawl along the ceiling inverted and drop down behind the wall, sort of bungeeing down and just snatching up individuals out of the darkness to sow discord and chaos amongst the people who are defending there.
Okay, yeah, your moment in the light, as it were, is when you and your arachnery drop on and execute hidden run tactics. You get caught in, including more than one frenzied melee with the defending arachnery as well.
Yeah.
In which you emerge, if not unscathed, then victorious.
Okay, I've thought about this in terms of how arachnery would engage each other. It's like they're literally swinging by the web, trying to cut either your opponent's web or your opponent off their mount.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
There's a moment where you go up against where you see a sneering. Do you have your original list of drow lady names?
Yes, I do. In fact, one moment.
Grab me one of them that wasn't stabby, because we know what happened to her.
Okay, Nadi's dead. There's Balara Desic.
Balara.
Black Widow, 5 previous rich husbands, all dead, suspicious.
Balara actually is fighting with the counter arachnery, and there's a moment where she's coming for you, and you just manage to deflect her blade and cut and slice the line, holding her up. And gets to watch as, screaming, she tumbles down into the city below.
It would never have worked!
Somewhere on the other side of the city, Oksana face palms and doesn't know why.
Sander, as the fighting presses into the city itself, you are on the ground level, and it makes its way through the crush and past the stacks and up to the piazza, up to the great sort of plaza before the Temple of Latu, the avenue filled with statues and plinths of honoured drow women and intercessors past, and this is where the priors and their bridges, the non-sighted drow priestesses in black with black masks, flanked by each one flanked by a bridge, a non-drow in like hell, where usually we're all in white, who you can see are the ones with usually arachnoid or insectoid spirits, the ones who are sighted and subservient to them, as well as the handful of clerics, and in the black and white mask and dress, the new intercessor emerge to confront, to fight, and flanked by the city's defenders. The priory, you meet the priory in its last stand. What do you do?
I mean, just have a look. Ooh. Just having a look at all of the different light and fire stuff that the cleric gets. I mean, it's a thing that requires a roll and a very low chance, but could there be a divine intervention? Could we say
you can have a divine intervention?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is a moment where it would where the dice. I'm gonna this is going very narratively, so I'm gonna say it happens. Tell what form of divine intervention? How does this go?
Similar to like the daylight orb, I think. That sort of massive, great flare of light and fire. And I want all those statues to just go. They all need to explode.
Okay, so this is it's basically just you describe the assistance and then it happens. So yeah, it's open ended. You are fighting through the you are fighting through the battle there, and throughout that you are bringing light and fire into it. There are multiple points where you bring down like flame strikes with brilliant golden flames, and again it's like and
at some point a firestorm. If we've hit level 14.
You've got 7th level. You can do that. I'm going to say that there's the moment that there's a moment where a lot of the where they. I'm actually just going to say like. As you are fighting forwards with accompanied by the infantry, the first thing the priors send against you are actually just their mortal troops. So as they're going in, chitin and steel armored infantry battle forwards. You sort of bring your hands up. And as you bring them down, a brilliant cascading light covers those troops and then turns to flame, burning them to ash. The next step is at the intercessor's command. The priors come on the bridges, the clerics act, and almost a second army appears as woven out of spirit and light, insectoid apparitions visible to all begin to fly or crawl forwards, essentially. Not quite on the level of like Conjure Celestial, but closer to sort of the equivalent of like Conjure Minor Elementals, Woodland Beings type spiritual creatures move forwards, and the intercessor begins to craft. Oksana, you're way back and you don't see this clearly, but you can see that the beginning of the act of summoning another avatar of Utu. But before they can manage any more than the earlier strands of this, how do you summon this divine intervention? Like, what is the action you do?
I don't know. It's nothing big or flashy, because they're not Sadnut.
I guess the question is, what is the action of prayer for you? Like, is it a putting of hands together? Is there a different gesture?
I think there's because their religion's always been very weird, because it's been very focused around a person who is dead rather than the god itself.
Yeah.
Because they follow this religion because of one person. I think it's like they place one hand on that other where the ring was that used to contain the soul of Myla. Because now there's just a space on their hand where it was.
You place one hand on the other, grip them tightly together, and as you bring your hands apart again, there is sort of from behind you, it feels like a dawning light, and it's strangely sourceless, but now I'm going back to the high drama music for this one. Because as you bring your hands apart, light glows around you, gleams around you, and some of the figures look up and begin in places to just drop to their knees as the city lights up. previously, when you conjured the Storm of Fire, it created like a light everywhere around it, like a light in the darkness. But the whole light level of the city begins to suddenly changes, and it's as if
take that, vampires.
the black all the vampires
dive out the way.
all the vampires begin like Sabna, like as you see suddenly like things begin lighting up. You see Argent's eyes widen, and he just immediately dives for cover. As you start to see parts of his skin turn to dust.
Sorry, not sorry.
And you look around and you couldn't exactly, and it's like shining out of the rear of the cavern from the way you've come, conveniently. Although you can't really see it from where you are, directly behind Sander. The whole cave lights up as if in dawn, in daylight. Everything suddenly becomes lit, and golden rays of dawn with Sabna, because you're looking that way, you see, just like oddly enough, where you imagine a horizon might be, a thin sliver of rainbow flame. A golden rays of dawn stream forwards, haloing around Sander, and striking the temple, the conjured beings, the defenders, the intercessor.
Yeah, fuck that person.
All of the conjured celestial insects let out high-pitched sort of chitters and screeches, and seem to crumble into motes of darkness that are erased. The half-formed avatar of Utu is washed away in the blazing light. The intercessor, some of the the clerics scream and claw their eyes. I mean, honestly, all of the drow are having a moment of being blinded, except for you, because you're facing away from the rising sun. The intercessor burns up.
Hell yeah.
Just immolates in front of the temple, which, with a resounding the cracks that had already there were cracks running through it from before that were slowly starting to be repaired, crack again, splintering it further. The intercessor immolates. The clerics, their eyes just burn away, and they sink to their knees, screaming in horror. The priors, squint and screech at their bridges, pointing their daggers towards you. The bridges look up. These countless just other races, these halflings and humans and half-orcs, and they look at the figure haloed in sun and just turn on the priors immediately. Some of them, a lot of them, the magic won't come, but they just grab daggers and start stabbing them in the throat. They just start others grab whips and chains and begin strangling them. In one case, you see one of them reach out and grab their own thrashing centipede spirit, hold it up to the light, and the spirit seems to wriggle and struggle, and then burst into a series of streams of light that flow around the bridge as he turns and brings his hands forwards with a blast of flame that incinerates first his prior and then the cleric beside above him. The dawnlight fades, but with that, what resistance is in the defenders is extinguished. There is mopping up. There are a handful that managed to struggle out and escape, but with resounding cheers, the Battle of Utu is won. And the aftermath is something that we can cover next time in an unexpected second part on Flintlocks and Fireballs. Fair seas from all of us. Thank you. Farewell from all of us here at Flintlocks and Fireballs. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for playing. And because I've done it 194 times, so I'm messing it up. From all of us here at Flintlocks and Fireballs, fair seas and natural 20s.
I've gone down where the sun won't shine, out of sight and out of mind. Is this a fight to set us free, or just a way to bury me?
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.